Welcome to your Calcut Boats holiday hire boat and the start of your relaxing holiday aboard one of our modern fleet of boats. The boat will be your home from home for the length of your holiday, and this video will provide you with details of the basic interior layout with its modern facilities and appliances. It will also show you how to steer and operate the boat safely. Individual boat features may vary slightly, and these will be explained to you personally by your instructor on the day. A fully comprehensive manual is stored on the boat, giving you in-depth written instructions on all the subjects covered in this video. All our boats have a cruiser stern with an open back deck for a more sociable experience. When stepping onto the back deck from the starboard side of the boat, be aware there is a stairwell leading down to the stern door. From the back deck, step down into the stairwell and use the key provided to unlock the door, taking care not to bump your head as you step forward into the cabin. On the back of this door there are 3 keys: a key for the pump out caps, an anti-vandal key, and a Canal and River Trust key for accessing facilities, water points for example. Located on the rear bulkhead are the inverter controls, the heating controls, the electric distribution board, and an inverter that converts the boat's 12-volt battery output to provide power for the 240 volt appliances on board. The inverters on board are rated at 2000 watts, which should not be exceeded, so please check the rating plates on appliances you bring from home. If there is a power overload through using too many appliances at the same time, or a battery power runs low, the inverter will cut out. A reset can be performed by turning it off and on again at the remote panel. You may need to start the engine to bring the voltage back up before performing this reset. If an appliance with a large load like a hairdryer, microwave or toaster are used, then it's recommended to run the engine to stop the batteries going flat. As mentioned, the controls for the diesel-powered central heating are also situated in this area, depending on your boat. It's operated by switching on the rocker switch or by pressing the on button on the touchscreen. The heater takes a few minutes to run its startup sequence, and then the heater will start to fire, as long as the room thermostat is turned up and is demanding heat. Hot water is stored and produced automatically by either the central heating, as long as it's turned on, or the engine. You might need to run the heating or the engine for a short time in the morning to top up the hot water supply. Depending on the boat you have booked, the bed layout will vary, but will usually have a fixed double bed and a dinette table that drops down to convert into a second double bed. The rear fixed double and any bunks will be made up for you on arrival. If you have chosen to use the dinette bed, then the bedding for this will be located folded up on the fixed double. Wardrobes are situated throughout the cabin, and additional bedding is stored in the rear wardrobe. Your boat will have 1 or more fully fitted bathrooms with a toilet. The toilets are simple and reliable and look similar to the ones that you have at home, but because they're not connected to a sewer, they operate in a different way. All waste is stored in a sealed tank, and it's important what is and isn't flushed down your toilet. You should remember the phrase, "Don't put anything down there that hasn't been eaten first." Each toilet has a separate waste tank. When a tank becomes nearly full, it will need to be emptied at specially equipped pump-out stations that will cost you around £15 to £20. The toilet is flushed by pressing the flush button. Some of the boats have a gravity toilet that's flushed by a foot pedal at the base. Please make sure that the pedal returns to the starting position to avoid using too much water. Water will stop flowing when there's a certain amount in the base of the bowl. The bathroom also has a fitted shower, which is operated much like a normal shower with hot and cold taps. However, the shower tray needs to be emptied by a pump operated by a switch under the gunnel, and this should be operated periodically during your shower to empty the tray. The boat has a well-equipped galley with all the necessary to prepare a meal for the family. Plenty of cutlery, utensils and cookware are stored in cupboards and drawers. There's an inventory included in the boat manual. The sink has running water, and a pump will operate when you use the taps. There is a switch to isolate this pump on the ceiling above the sink. To operate the gas oven and hob, push and turn the relevant knob while pressing the ignition switch or using the gas lighter stick. You'll need to hold the knob in for a short time after lighting. The electric fridge runs off battery, either direct or from the inverter, and needs to have 2 to 4 hours of engine running time each day to keep it topped up. Boat fridges aren't as efficient as your domestic models at home. They're not intended to store frozen foods. Perishable foods can be stored for up to a couple of days. Drinks and non-perishable items will be kept nicely chilled throughout your cruise. Please do not turn the fridge up from its current setting. It won't make it any colder, but will drain the batteries quicker. The door isn't designed to hold large items, like 4 pints of milk. It will break. The galley also has a microwave and toaster, which are powered by 240 volts. Remember, the power for these items comes from your batteries through the inverter. And as mentioned earlier, with these high-powered appliances, you are advised to run the boat engine when these are being used to stop your getting flat batteries. For your safety, there are 3 fire extinguishers and a fire blanket on board, along with a smoke alarm and a carbon monoxide alarm. If the carbon monoxide alarm sounds, evacuate the boat and contact the boatyard immediately. The television on your boat will probably need retuning every time you stop as you travel between transmission areas. They are fitted with omnidirectional areas, so it doesn't matter which way you're facing. But bear in mind the signal strength can be intermittent, particularly in cuttings and rural areas. Let's head outside to the front deck. The water tank is located below this deck and is filled by removing the water filler cap. The tank should be topped up daily. A hose to facilitate this is located in the bow locker. Please do not moor up overnight at water points. Heading back to the rear deck. First, let's look at where you should and shouldn't stand when cruising. The tiller arm has an arc when it swings. It is important not to stand in the arc when steering. If the rudder was to hit something in the water, it could swing the tiller arm around within the area of this arc with some force. So you want to be well out of the way if that happens. Only the front and rear decks are designated crew areas, so don't travel on the gunnels or on the roof. In the open locker on the back deck you will find the mooring pins, the windlasses, the piling hooks, a mallet, some water for topping up the header tank, some grease and some engine oil. At the stern we have 2 gas lockers, one on each side. These each house a gas cylinder. Both of these cylinders are connected to a regulator. Both cylinders can be left turned on and will feed into the system. If you need to change a cylinder, first shut off both cylinder valves to shut off all the gas, and disconnect the hose using the spanner provided. It's a left-hand thread, so it's clockwise to remove. In an emergency, these cylinder valves are also your emergency cut-off, which should be used if you suspect a leak or can smell gas. If this happens, don't switch anything electrical on or off. Get off the boat and contact the boatyard using a phone from outside the boat, as mobile phones can create a spark. On rare occasions, your boat will get something wrapped around its propeller. The telltale signs include a change in the engine note, a vibration felt through the tiller, a loss of forward drive, and a rise in engine temperature. Stop the boat, moor up securely, and switch off your engine. Remove the key from the ignition and keep this in your pocket. You access the prop via the weed hatch under the rear deck boards. Lift the deck boards and reach down to the weed hatch and unscrew the retaining bar. Lift the cover out and with caution, reach down with your hand and remove whatever is fouling the prop. Replace the hatch and secure with the retaining bar. Check the seal by observing the hatch while you start the engine and engage forward and then reverse gear for a few seconds. If you observe any water ingress, reseat the hatch and repeat the process. Finally, replace the deck board securely in place. Lift the main deck board to access the stern greaser. This is a brass fitting with a tap on top. Turn the tap clockwise until you feel some pressure. The rear deck is the location of all the controls for steering and controlling the boat. The control panel shows information about the state of the engine and batteries with various gauges and warning lights. Temperature gauge. The normal running temperature is about 85 degrees C. If the temperature rises above 90 degrees C, pull over, stop the engine and contact the boatyard immediately. Voltmeter. This should be showing 13.5 to 14 volts whilst the engine is running. If it goes below this and the warning light comes on, again pull over and contact the boatyard. Charge warning light. This is red. If the light is on, you are not charging. This could be an electrical fault or the key is not in the run position. If this light remains illuminated, contact the boatyard for advice. Oil pressure warning light, which is orange. If this one comes on at any time, follow the same procedure. Pull over and contact the boatyard. Bilge pump. Press the button to remove excess water from the engine compartment. Headlight switch. Always use the headlight when navigating in tunnels. This is not for cruising in the dark. You are only permitted to travel sunup to sundown. Horn. This is to alert other boats approaching the tunnel or a blind bend. Please see the manual for an explanation on horn warnings.
It's 12 hours.
The control lever is effectively a combined accelerator, brake and gear selector. While the lever is in the upright position, the gear is in neutral. To engage forward gear, push the lever forwards, and for reverse, pull it backwards. We have two types of control on our hire fleet, one with a silver knob under the gear lever and one with a red button. By pulling out the silver knob or pushing in the red button and then pushing the lever forward, you can rev the engine without engaging gear. Once pulled out, it will stay in that position until the lever is returned to the neutral position and pushed back in. The red button will pop back out automatically once the lever is returned to the upright position. To start the engine, pull out the center button or press in the red button, then move the lever forward to full throttle. If the engine is cold, turn the ignition key to the heat position. A blue light will come on. Hold it in this position for about 10 seconds. Turn the key clockwise to the run position and a number of warning lights will come on. This is quite normal. Turn the key to the start position and hold until the engine fires. Then release the key back to the run position, about 2 o'clock. All the warning lights should now have extinguished. Leave the key in this position while the engine is running and don't run the starter for more than 20 seconds. Return the throttle lever slowly to the upright position and push in the center button. Push the lever forward to select forward gear and you will feel a slight click through the lever as it reaches its tick over setting. Pushing it further increases your speed. But remember, you don't want to be cruising at more than 3 to 4 miles per hour. Finally, there are some daily routine checks for you to go through. At the end of each day's cruising, you will need to prime the stern gland with grease. The greaser, which is located under the stern deck boards, needs to be screwed down clockwise until you feel some pressure. This will seal up the stern gland and stop it dripping overnight. Before you start your next day's cruising, you will also need to do the following checks. Give the greaser an extra half turn. Check the heating and engine header tanks located in the wet locker on the rear bulkhead, and if they need to be topped up, top them up with tap water. Pump out the bilge by pressing and holding the pump button on the dash panel. And finally, check the level of the engine oil using the dipstick. We hope you've enjoyed this short orientation video and are now looking forward to arriving at Calcutta for the start of your holiday. You will be joined by one of our experienced instructors on the day who will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. This will be followed by a locking instruction before we send you on your way to enjoy a cruising adventure on our wonderful canals.